So what really makes an entrepreneur tick? Is it something they're just born with, like a special kind of spark? Or is it something that gets forged in the fire of, real-world experience? For decades, researchers have been digging into this exact question, and they've come up with some pretty fascinating theories. Today, we're going to explore that map and try to understand the forces that create the world's biggest innovators. And it all starts with this one classic question. Are entrepreneurs born or are they made? Is it all in their DNA, these special traits that just set them up for success? Or are they shaped by their environment, their experiences, and maybe the unique opportunities or even the obstacles that life throws in their path? This single question is going to frame our entire journey today. To really get to the bottom of it, thinkers have kind of split into two big camps. Think of it like this. There's the macro view, which looks at everything through a telescope, focusing on those big external forces shaping the whole landscape. And then there's the micro view, which grabs a microscope to look at the internal traits, the skills, and the nitty-gritty decisions of the entrepreneur themselves. We're going to look through both lenses to get the full picture. First up, let's grab that telescope. The macro view basically argues that to really get an entrepreneur, you have to get their world. We're talking about the broad stuff, environmental, social, and financial factors. Things that are often way outside of an individual's control, but man, do they have a massive impact on their journey. Okay, so first up in this macro view is the environmental school of thought. The core idea here is simple, but it's really powerful. Your surroundings can either be like a greenhouse that helps your entrepreneurial spirit grow, or they can be a harsh climate that just crushes it before it even gets started. It really suggests that the right conditions can make an entrepreneur blossom. So what are these conditions we're talking about? Well, it could be anything from the influence of your family and friends to the culture at your job, or even bigger things like national values and political stability. Just imagine a creative middle manager, right? She works at a company that actually encourages new ideas and gives people the freedom to experiment. That supportive environment can be the exact thing that gives her the confidence and, the safety net she needs to go out and launch her own thing. Next, we've got a school of thought that says it all comes down to one thing: money. The financial or capital school argues that the whole entrepreneurial process is really just a search for and a management of capital. I mean, it makes sense, right? Without the funding, even the most brilliant idea in the world just stays an idea. Now, what's really interesting here is how this shows that financial needs aren't just this one-time thing. They change as the business grows. At the startup phase, it's all about just finding that initial seed money. The big decision is simple. Do we go for it or do we bail? But once you're up and running, the game totally shifts. Now it's about managing cash flow and making smart investments. And way down the line, in the decline or succession phase, you're looking at completely different questions. Like, should you sell? Should you retire? Or maybe pass the torch? The money trail really does tell the story of the whole venture. This next school is fascinating because it suggests that sometimes becoming an entrepreneur isn't about being pulled towards some great opportunity. It's about being pushed away from your current situation. You don't really choose the path. The path is kind of chosen for you out of sheer necessity. And this push tends to come from three main directions: political, cultural, and economic. Each one of these is a really powerful force that can completely redirect a person's entire career, and often when they least expect it. Let's break those down. So, what does this actually look like in the real world? Well, political displacement could be something like new government regulations that make your industry impossible to work in, forcing you to find a new way to make a living. Cultural displacement, you see this a lot with immigrant communities who, maybe facing barriers to getting traditional jobs, go out and create their own businesses instead. And economic displacement, that's a huge one. Think about the 2008 recession when thousands of people lost their jobs and had to start their own companies to survive. Or even more recently, think about the Great Resignation, where people, totally pushed by burnout, started freelance careers or small businesses, creating this whole new wave of entrepreneurs. All right, let's put down the telescope for a minute and pick up the microscope. We're shifting our focus now from the external world to the internal one. The micro view argues that the real key to understanding entrepreneurship lies within the person, their specific traits, their unique way of seeing the world, and their deliberate strategies. Now, this is probably the most famous theory of the bunch, the trait school. The thinking here is that successful entrepreneurs aren't just random people. They share this core set of personality characteristics. And if we can just figure out what's in that entrepreneurial DNA, then we can understand what makes them successful. This brings us right back to the born side of our big born or made question. And here are some of those classic traits people talk about: a high need for achievement, that spark of creativity, just relentless determination and deep technical know-how. The thinking goes that if we can identify these traits, maybe we can learn to copy them and find success for ourselves. It's a really appealing idea for sure, but it's not the whole story. But what if it's not just about traits? The Venture Opportunity School comes along and says, hey, hold on, it's not just about who you are, it's about what you see. This perspective is all about the entrepreneur's ability to spot an idea, evaluate it, and then develop it into a real, viable opportunity at just the right time. This quote just nails the whole idea. It's about timing, it's about market awareness, it's about execution. This also brings up this really cool concept called the corridor principle. The idea is that the very act of starting a business opens up this hallway of new doors, new opportunities, new contacts, new ideas that were totally invisible to you before. Your first venture literally becomes the launch pad for your next. Okay, our final microschool is all about the power of a good plan. The Strategic Formulation School really emphasizes that having a unique plan and a clear strategy, that's what separates a fleeting idea from a business that can actually last. It's about being deliberate and consciously using your unique advantages to carve out your own space in the market. This school of thought suggests that a really effective strategy hinges on leveraging one of 4 unique elements. Are you tapping into a unique market that everyone else has overlooked? Are you building the entire company around a uniquely talented person? Is your product itself just truly innovative? Or have you found a way to get access to a unique resource that nobody else has? Your whole strategy has to be built around one of these distinct advantages. And this leads to 2 very different strategic paths you can take. On one hand, you've got what's called the Great Chef strategy. Think of a world-famous chef opening a new restaurant. The entire business is built around their unique, irreplaceable talent. That person is the advantage. The business is just an extension of their skill. Then, on the other hand, you have the Better Widget strategy. Here, the focus isn't on one person, it's on creating a product that is just flat out better, or faster, or more innovative than anything else out there. The product itself is the star of the show. So, we've looked through the telescope at the big picture, and we've looked through the microscope at the individual. Which one is right? Which view truly explains what entrepreneurship is all about? Well, the most powerful answer isn't about choosing one over the other. It's about bringing them both together. And here's the bottom line, the crucial takeaway. Entrepreneurial success is a synthesis. It's where the macro and the micro views crash into each other. It's about having the right internal traits and strategies, that's the microscope view, and then applying them in the right external environment at the perfect moment. That's the telescope view. You absolutely need both. A brilliant entrepreneur with a game-changing idea could totally fail in a restrictive environment, just like a perfect market opportunity might go completely unnoticed without a visionary person to actually seize it. And that leaves us with a final thought. Think about an entrepreneur you really admire, someone like Steve Jobs or Sarah Blakely or Elon Musk. Now that you have these frameworks, how do you see their stories? Was their success a product of their relentless inner drive and brilliant strategic moves, or was it about them being in the right place at the right time when the world was finally ready for what they had to offer? The answer, as you can probably see now, is almost always a little bit of both.